Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Coley. I'm the awards editor at Rotten Tomatoes, and it is my honor to welcome you all to this moderated conversation press conference with the cast and filmmakers of Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic story, which will premiere on the Roku channel Friday, November 4th. Stream the Roku channel for free on Roku devices, the web, iOS and Android devices, Amazon Fire TV, and select Samsung TVs. I want to remind everyone no subscription is required. So, without further ado, please allow me to introduce today our cast and filmmakers. First, we have writer director Eric Appel. We have writer Weird Al Yankovic. That is so cool to say. Stars Daniel Radcliffe and Evan Rachel Wood. Hello, everyone.
Howdy.
Hello.
I feel weird in the sense that I've already done it. I'm trying not to say this as much as possible, but I feel strange starting with you, Eric. But in a way, I feel you have to, because you have to start a little bit as a Weird Al super fan to then pitch it and say, hey, let's co-write this together. So talk about that process. First of all, just the reach out, and then also sitting down and doing the script together and how that came to be.
Yeah, so this whole project started as a fake movie trailer that we made, over a decade ago for Funny or Die, and I had this idea to do a, all these biopics play so fast and loose with the facts. I wanted to, and traditionally the subject of the biopic has been dead for 20 years, so it's a little harder to fact check. So I was like, it'll be really funny. Like, I think it would be great to do a fake biopic trailer about a real person who is alive now, and then just completely make the story up. So I had never met Al before. We have a mutual friend in Patton Oswalt, and I reached out to Patton and I said, I feel like I have this idea. I feel like it's kind of like an idea that Al may want to do himself or something. I just want to get his blessing to do this. And Patton wrote me back and he said, I spoke to Al. He actually loves the idea. He wants your email address. And later that day, I'm at a coffee shop with Weird Al, watching biopic trailers on a laptop. And that was sort of how this whole thing started.
Oh, I love this so much. I wish I was there in that coffee shop, because that is just such a moment. And Mr. Weird Al, sir, I do have to say this. This is a very strange moment for me because this has never happened. I'm Instagram and Twitter friends with someone who is a huge fan of yours. And when I told him I was doing this morning, only time in the life I will ever have Lin-Manuel Miranda tell me that he was jealous of me being able to moderate this press conference, but he legitimately was. And I have the Instagram proof that he's just like, I am very jealous of you right now. I'm like, you have Barack Obama's cell phone, sir. This is not somebody to be jealous of. But it speaks to your power of what you've created as an artist and just also as a person. I saw you the night that you were at his directorial debut for Tick, Tick, Boom. What does it mean knowing that this story is going to be out to the fans, but also more broadly, just the idea that you could literally do it in the perfect way possible by making it a parody movie?
I can't think of any other way that I would have done this movie because, there are some interesting things that have happened in my actual life, but not anything interesting enough that would merit a Hollywood biopic, so we figured that we needed to spice it up a little bit, take a few artistic liberties and make it a little bit more interesting. So that's what we did. We tweaked the facts just a hair here and there, just to make it more palatable for audiences.
Well, I know a lot of it is imagined and all of it is very broad. I was there at TIFF for that midnight screening. It was electric. I can't tell folks enough how much fun that was. But there are real aspects of your life that you are recreating. Was there one particular moment that you saw that was somewhat recreated that really sort of brought you back to the moment when it happened in real life?
There are a couple.
Maybe not.
There are a couple moments of actual truth sprinkled in among the biopic. Things that people that aren't familiar with my story may not actually know are true. Like there was, in fact, a door-to-door accordion salesman that came along in my neighborhood offering music lessons. I did, in fact, record My Bologna in a public bathroom. Now, I did it by myself at the time, so I didn't have like a whole band with me, but just to be there, on set, like trying to recreate My Blown in the Bathroom, that was kind of a odd thing for me because yeah, there were little moments from my life. It was odd to see like, you know, Daniel Radcliffe playing me doing this like bit of me in college.
I love it so much. Yes, and I will say, it was great to see that. I wish that, you know, I could like delve into the real and the fake. Obviously, there's plenty that you know it's fake, but honestly, I just like living that this is your history now. I love that there's an entire generation of people that are going to explore it that way. But Daniel, for you, the one thing I will say, as much fun as it was to watch this movie, I can say this because I watch a lot of them. I could tell y'all just had the most absolute blast. And you in particular, just leaning into everything weird about this character. So what was it? Was that what intrigued you to it? Because I think obviously at this point, you can do what you want. And so I think it would have to be something special, especially knowing that you're doing a real life person.
Well, I mean, I think there was so much about the script that was exciting when I read it. I mean, and first and foremost, like really kind of the way I try to prioritize my career now is by going, what do I think I'm gonna have the most fun making? And this, it was so like very, very obvious that this would be an incredibly fun thing to shoot because every page is you know you've got a fight scene and then a pool party and then a dance number and a song and just like to get to do something different every day and like be pulling on all these different things. It was incredibly exciting, and just you know I was a fan of Al reading as before I read the script, and then I got the script and I got the email first that was like, you know, you the Weird Al movie biopic and you would be playing Weird Al, and like my first reaction was kind of, oh, that's like incredibly cool, but there's got to be people that like are physically closer than me, or like, or yeah, you know, whatever it is. And then I read the script, and like a few pages into the script, I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're doing. And that was, and as soon as that moment clicked, you're like, oh, great, I know what this is. And as of that point, it was just like, yeah, let's do this.
I think this so much. And Evan, on top of the fact that you are incredibly hilarious and so much, like, again, also having so much fun as Madonna, I have to feel women of our generation, because we're a similar-ish age. I'm not going to age myself and say because I'm older, but who doesn't want to cosplay as Madonna? Who does not want to do that, even for a minute? And then you also got to take it even broader because it's sort of like what we did as kids when we would dress up as Madonna at home. It's very that.
Yes, I've been saying this all day. Like, who hasn't wanted to put on the early '80s Madonna getup? I mean, it's so iconic. I never wanted to take the wardrobe off at the end of the day. It never got old. I thought, I wonder if it's ever going to be like, oh yeah, I'm at work, I'm going to dress up like Madonna. Never, not once. Always fun. I just danced around to the music all day, and people called me Madonna. When I came to set, it was like Madonna's on her way. Madonna's in her chair. You know, Madonna needs a sandwich. And then, like, I could see people getting visibly flustered, and I was like, wow, this really is like being able to wear the skin for a few hours out of the day.
Oh my gosh. I'm literally going to take it back to you on this as well, because I feel like, especially with this version of Madonna, more so than any other character, you have to make her a character to really embody her, because she's not Madonna as we see her, or even like who would know her that well anyway. So when did she become real? Because with so much heightened reality of what Eric wrote, if you aren't careful, she cannot be that. But even though you guys are doing absurd things, I really felt it. I felt the relationship between these two characters, and it felt so real.
Good. I mean, that's what we were going for. We knew it was a parody, but we still wanted to give good. Well, I'll just speak for myself. Oh, yeah. But I think I know.
For both of us.
Yeah. That, you know, everybody fully committed and still wanted to give really good performances. And Eric and I discussed what the tone was going to be. But I told him up front, I was like, I'm going to take this very seriously. I'm going to give you my best Madonna, the best I can do, you know, with the amount of time that I had. But so I knew that if I could sort of hook the audience in the beginning and really root that in reality, then it gave me room later on to just fly completely off the rails with her. So that was my approach.
And then Daniel, for you too, obviously you've gotten to know Weird Al, and he was very obviously wrote the words that you're saying. And so he's a person in his own right, but then you're having to play a version of himself that is heightened. How did you adjust with that? Was it was it weird? I mean, like, I don't want to say this too
I know.
often. Like, how was it?
During the
Yeah,
press
you never
conference
get used
film,
to
it is
that.
impossible to use the word weird. We have all discovered this. Yes. Yeah, no, I honestly very similar to what Evan's saying about. I think if you can establish a character that is recognizable at the beginning, and that has a lot of, even if events are changed, that is the spirit, exactly, is the same. Then when things go like truly off the rails later, then you've kind of earned it, and the audience can go with you. And yeah, I mean, I think that the thing about Al in the movie that is closest to real Al is that Al's sort of sweetness and sincerity and kindness, particularly like at the beginning. I mean, then there's a point in the movie when obviously like those qualities fade away slightly. It becomes a very different version that I could not draw on using the real Al as inspiration.
Yeah.
What was it like when you killed all those people?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Al, I'm gonna do this first, so I can like disperse myself as a strange, uncanny valley. Like, come on, we have other adjectives out there. I can do this, right? I'm gonna try. But I will say, writing a parody film, was it flexing the same muscles, or were these totally different muscles that you and Eric sort of worked out together as you were writing this? What was your guide for this to make it feel? It is a Weird Al parody, so it has to feel that way, even though it's a film.
Well, I like to think the comic sensibility is the same. I mean, the sense of humor is the same at writing a parody song as opposed to writing a movie, but they're, very different media. And, there's a story, there's an arc, there's characters, there's a lot of things beyond what you would normally have to flex while writing a song. So there's a lot going on there. And thankfully, Eric is the greatest writing partner in the world. We had such a blast writing the script. I mean, it was really, writing is usually my least favorite part of my job description. But it was so fun writing with Eric. I mean, Eric remembers, as soon as we finished writing the script, I was like, let's write another one right away. And then he's like, let's tell this one first,
Oh, I dig this. So there's a sequel? I'm just kidding. I'm like Roku's like,
I mean,
this might be the first biopic with a sequel. I think.
Yeah.
But that is a really
That would be amazing. Yeah.
This could, I mean, I'm feeling this. Eric, I do have to say this because you obviously had a runway with this before Al got involved. Were there things before you guys actually started the process of writing the screenplay that you knew you wanted to highlight in this, or did you really start with the blank page and say, hey, what beats do we want to have this? What was sort of that where you're deciding which parts of his legacy as a musician and the things that he did were going to be featured here?
Yeah, well, working off that trailer, at first we were trying to just like reverse engineer a movie, starting with a fake trailer that was made 10 years earlier. And then we veered away from that, and really we were really open, and we kind of, the story just took us to different places. And obviously we had the songs that we wanted to highlight, the Dr. Demento relationship, but the way that we portray those things, is not actually the way that they happen. I was saying, like, I think I'm the first director in the history of biopics who had to do absolutely no research about my subject.
Oh, wow.
Because we're like, let's get creative with it. I mean, I obviously, as a fan, I knew a lot about Al going into it, but yeah, we just had the freedom to like see where the story took us, and we wanted to like highlight, the tropes and the story beats that you'd see in a traditional biopic, but take those in surprising directions, So this didn't feel just like a direct parody of a specific biopic, but more like a satire of like an entire genre that's full of surprises.
Yeah, and I think Daniel and obviously Evan, you too, when you're looking at other actors' body of work, to be like, okay, this is a parody. I'm at least gonna. This is a movie where, like, really, maybe Dewey Cox. This is a totally different version of even that, as my dog decides to make his presence known. But I would ask you, so when you were sort of going about this particular performance, what were the things that you wanted to make sure that you did do? Was it the organ playing? Was it the performance aspect? What parts of sort of becoming Weird Al were the things that you really had to approach with that? Or did you just say, hey, let's have fun with it?
I mean, I think on the on a shoot that was this quick, there was a huge amount of my preparation was honestly like learning the fight choreography, learning the dance choreography, and like doing the stuff with the band. And so like that was a lot of the actual prep and rehearsal with those things, so that we wouldn't be losing time for them on the day when it came to it. But yeah, other than that, I think there's a certain amount that you sort of learn by osmosis and just by being around Al. But and particularly in the second half, you definitely have the what the film is, and the structure of it gives you total license to just kind of go like, okay, how far can we push this, and how crazy can things get?
Exactly. I will say this, Evan. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. You're playing a sociopath version of Madonna in so many
Yeah.
ways. There's no other way of saying it.
Yeah.
But and this is what's weird as someone familiar with filmography. Going back to even like you could say the Vampire Queen, obviously your character in Westworld, you seem to be these people who present like they don't necessarily know the machinations that they're doing, and they seem to be the smartest people in the room. So was that what attracted to you more than the Madonna part of it? Just the fact that, like, I mean, she is really doing the dastardly villain. I don't think you could write a villain like that in modern times. Like, this is like old school, like twirling the mustache villain stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
what I've
live
been
for
saying.
it.
It's got this like Natasha and Boris from Rocky and Bullwinkle sort of feel to it. I love. So I kind of took that approach, but no, it made playing Madonna more appealing, because I think it would be too pressure to be her in like a straight biopic. Although I am excited to see that. I personally don't think I could do that without like having a panic attack. So this was like, oh wow, I get to play Madonna, but I get to be a little loose with it. I get to have a little bit of fun. So that made it very appealing. Yes.
I do love this. Weird Al, we're going to get to do a little bit of this because you're going to get to talk obviously a lot about this film, but you're also going to get to talk to folks about the moments that these songs that are a part of the movie came to be, and the inspiration behind them, and all of that sort of stuff. And honestly, about your legacy of being Weird Al for this long, and having this moment with the fans. Have you already had those moments like at TIFF and everywhere else where you've sort of gotten to speak to people after they've seen the film and have them sort of recontextualize even your fans now when you're on tour? Because I know you're literally on tour right now.
Yeah, as we speak, I'm backstage somewhere in Florida, I think. It's amazing to hear from the fans and to hear their reactions to the movie. And the thing with this particular movie, and we knew this going in, anytime you do this kind of a parody or do something with irony, there's always going to be a small percentage of people that believe it. No matter how ridiculous, outlandish it is, there's going to be a small percentage of people that go, oh, I guess that's the way it really happened. This is canon now. I'll put that in Al's Wikipedia entry.
Yeah. God, I hope so.
In fact, Eric and I were laughing about this. Like the day after the trailer came out, if you did a Google search for Weird Al, the first thing is, did Weird Al date Madonna? Like everybody wanted to know. So that amused us to no end.
Oh, I really dig this. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Again, I don't know anything about this, but I was like, there's no way this is like, they even like were friends or knew each other. But I believe those two. I believe that these two have like entire, like a career chapter history. That's the best part of the writing. And Eric, it's a testament to what you guys did with this, because it is funny, obviously, and it's absurdist, but you're still with everyone from the beginning. And it starts from the opening line, like your life is a parody of your favorite song, that whole idea of it. And so it kind of begs the question. I'm not going to ask everyone what their favorite Weird Al song is, because I know that like you guys all have been asked that all day. But I will say, what do you think could be the parody song for your life? Like which song would you want to parody for your life?
Ooh.
I'll start with you, Eric, since you were the director
no.
on set. You gotta go first. Sorry, sir. You're the one.
Clarification question. Is this a song that already exists that we will use as a parody of our life?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Oh, wait.
so. I'm guessing that's like the basically the idea is like your life is like a parody of your favorite song. So what's your favorite song?
Okay, right.
Yeah, and how would that favorite song parody your life? So it needs to be a favorite song that feels like your life.
Oof, don't make me
All
go
right.
first. I can't go first.
You cannot go first? Oh man. I think mine would be Hit 'Em Up Style with with Blue Ivy though, just to go shopping and for revenge. I'm slightly petty. Any song about petty, that's like the thing I don't like to tell people. That's my moon sign. I'm not. I'm a nice person most of the time. But if you cross me, I will get petty. And that's where I feel like I'm like, any petty revenge song, Carrie Underwood, if he cheats, let me get caught in a series of revenge. That's what I would do.
Trying to think of what my favorite songs are.
Yeah.
I know, Eric.
I know it's a lot of pressure.
It's okay. I'll
I
go
think
with
what
an easier one, maybe
Well,
Al.
Okay.
I'm thinking
Well,
you have to think about this one a lot, right?
I do. It's
I don't know if I'm allowed to pick my own song, but I'd probably go with White and
You
Nerdy
should.
because that's a very autobiographical number.
You should.
feel like
So I
you've
had to drop from a
earned the right
lifetime
to
of
pick your
experience for that song.
Yep. And you have made that an anthem for a lot of people, and
I
they
mean,
thank
I
you for
was
that.
I was literally talking to a white nerdy looking journalist earlier who was like, that was one of my favorite songs growing up, and I was like, yeah, me too. And then I was like, yeah, there's no wonder, like, what a surprise.
That's the one.
Shocker.
So-
I like that one. That's a great one. I really do think that one. Eric, are you up yet? Can you go?
I'll go Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Because I'm on drugs right now. No.
I knew it. I knew it. This movie was just too much for you to be sober for it. I knew it. I knew it. There's no way somebody sober. But we all knew Weird Al was Weird Al, but you had to be on something.
Yeah, every day.
Every day. Kidding. Evan, go ahead.
I think mine would have to be All I Really Want by Alanis Morissette.
Ooh, that's a great one, actually.
Yeah.
I dig that. I really do. Also,
You wouldn't have to change any of the lyrics, though. So
I'll go. There's a song by Tom Lehrer called "We Will All Go Together When We Go." I've always been pretty morbid, so we'll just go with that one.
Wow.
I was gonna say, man, you like. I feel like what's going on? Like Timothy Chalamet's societal collapse is the air. We're all going. Like, come on, kids. This is sad. You just scare me here.
The end's always been nice.
I know. I definitely want to, before we leave, I definitely want to talk specifically with all of you, getting to know Weird Al. I joked about the Lin-Manuel Miranda aspect of it, but legitimately just the night at TIFF and then getting ready for this, there's so many people that obviously have spoke so highly of Weird Al, and I think all of you probably have first experiences with him. So Daniel, what was it like the first day you two met? Was it already you were going to be doing this? Was it on the early days? What was that first conversation like?
Well, the first conversation was with Al and Eric was on Zoom a while back, and then as you know, obviously we got closer to the movie happening, I would send videos of myself trying to learn the accordion to them just so they could see where I was, and you know would catch up every so often, and then. The first time we met was when I was going to the studios to have an accordion lesson with Al, which, you know...
Wait, time out? There was accordion lessons with Al? Like, we need to discuss this more.
So my first... I think we had like 2 or 3 before we started, just to like, you know, let me watch how he played certain parts and that I definitely couldn't. And, you know, I don't know... I was a very blank canvas as a student, it's fair to say, but he was very, very kind and very patient, and you know, I will take that to my grave with me, that I had accordion lessons with Al Yankovic, yeah, so that was very, very cool, and I do think it's, you know, everything everybody says is true. You know, he's lovely and supportive and kind, and it's very funny, but without the energy of, you know, comedians that are like, I must be the loudest and funniest person in the room at all times. You know, Al is not that wonderfully. And I will also say, to what you were saying about the amount of people texting you and jealousy and stuff, when this film was announced, it was announced just after the announcement for the Harry Potter reunion on HBO Max. And when I say that I got more texts about this than that, it's not close. It was a wide gap of interest between those two things in my life specifically. So that was a real, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. I mean, if I had your number, I wouldn't be texting you about Harry Potter. I'm not gonna lie.
There you go.
I do have to ask you real quick, Mr. Weird Al, sir, before I go back to Daniel. What was that lesson like for you on the other side of it? as the, you know, obviously what, I don't know how many years have you been playing the accordion. I don't want to guess because I feel I'd be weird, but to say that. But yeah, how was that for you doing that moment?
In which moment? Sorry.
The teaching Daniel the accordion in those lessons. Like,
Oh,
what
you
was
know,
that like for you? Like, I mean, granted, not, I know these are very basic. You guys are just going over it, but it's still a moment where this is the guy
yeah,
that's going to play you on screen and you
yeah.
both have accordions. Let's do this.
I mean, it was surrealistic to say the least. To walk into a building and give, oh, who's your appointment today? Or you're giving Daniel Radcliffe accordion lessons, and it kind of harkens back to that was one of my first jobs, was a accordion teacher. It was a part-time job between high school and college. I would teach little kids how to play the accordion, and Dan caught on much quicker than the 8-year-old I taught.
Take that. Take that, little kids.
But it was getting back into the old rhythm. No, Dan was a great quick learner, and I still can't believe how well he pulled it off, because he didn't need to do that. Eric and I told him, like, we can cut around you. You don't really need to learn how to play the accordion. But it was kind of a point of pride with him. He really wanted to make it look like he was playing, because I told him, like, I've seen a lot of people in movies and TV playing the accordion, and I can tell it's fake, and he wanted to really make it look real. And for the 3 or 4 people that know, he's actually playing the right buttons on the accordion.
Hey, I'm with that. I follow these YouTubers that do classical music, and they rip into those violin players. So I'm glad that the accordion YouTubers are not going to come for you, Daniel. It gets vicious. I'm happy for you. There's still time. Evan, also, before we get out of here, I definitely want you to talk about your first experience sort of meeting Weird Al, because again, it's different, but also he wrote you this insane in all the best ways, which I love.
It's funny. I don't think I knew that he was going to be on set my first day. And so Daniel was dressed up like Weird Al, but then I was seeing this other Al, like out of the corner of my eye, like kind of up, like, and I was like, is Al here? They're like, yeah, man, he's here every day. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I had no idea this was happening. And so it was surreal because I was dressed like Madonna, and I had just gotten through watching the interview that he edited with another interview with Madonna. And so it was like this meta weird thing that was happening between the two of us. But it was great because after the end of the day, he came up to me after we had finished our scenes and just said how great it was and how well everything was playing. And that was just like the best feeling, to know that he was there and he was, loving everything that he was seeing. And it kind of like also, was just very reassuring that we were doing a good job. And then I actually took my child to see him in concert, and it was my kid's first concert. So I'm just like keeping it going. That was his first concert.
That's really
was a
cool.
Weird Al,
That's awesome.
which seemed very appropriate.
Oh, I dig this so much. Eric, I want to take it to you really quickly. And because we only have about a minute left. I talked about TIFF, but I feel remiss that I didn't talk to you guys about that night, because I have to say it was midnight, it was late, but it was packed. And it did not seem like a single laugh. Like that was an electric room. And so if you could just real quick detail what that was like for you, and to hear the reaction, because again, 93%, I think, still fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
these kids are digging the film.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible experience, getting to premiere it in that room with all those people, and the excitement to see it, and the reaction was like better than we could have ever asked for. I mean, it felt like being at a Weird Al concert. Really, it was just like wall to wall laughs. It was so amazing just to be in that room,
Yeah, and Al, I'm going to give you the last word on this. You've played to literally the biggest stadiums in the world. But I do have to say, I spied you that night. You seemed like that was just like a very emotional evening for you in the best of ways and like the happiest of ways.
Well, it was. I mean, I'd seen the movie maybe 100 times on my laptop because we, along the way and all the editing and all the iterations, but I'd never seen it with any kind of an audience. And I always thought and hoped it was funny, but to like hear the peals of laughter through the entire movie, it was just so validating and so wonderful to hear. And, there's a flash mob. There's an army of Weird Owls out in the street while we're doing the red carpet, like doing a choreographed routine. And the whole night was just crazy and like out of my dreams. It was just maybe one of the best nights of my life.
And on that note, I don't think it can get any better. Thank you all so very much. I want to remind everyone that you can stream Weird, the Al Yankovic story on Roku channel Friday, November 4th. And remember again, that is Roku channel, free on all Roku devices, web, iOS, no subscription required. And Android Fire Stick and Samsung TVs. Sorry, I don't want to get in trouble with everyone on that one.
Please don't forget about my Fire Sticks.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't want to forget about your Fire Sticks or your Amazon. Anyway, and again, there's no subscription required. Thank you all again for watching. I'm Jacqueline Coley, and yeah, let's get weird.
Thank you so much to all my monetary supporters, my members, and my Patreons. Love you guys.